Ministers from Tanzania as well as Zambia have held a meeting in Dar es Salaam to consider the establishment of a new gas pipeline between the neighbouring countries. The two countries currently oversee an over 1,700 kilometre long crude oil pipeline that runs between them. For more on this story, we are now joined by our SABC News correspondent, Isaac Lukando. Isaac, good morning and thank you so much for making time for us. Tell us about this meeting and what it is exactly that they're trying to establish, and also considering some of the security concerns.
Well, we've been informed by the Ministry of Energy here that this is a follow-up meeting to one that took place late last year in December, actually, between the government of Tanzania and the Zambian government. The Tanzanian and Zambian government own a pipeline that was established in 1968. It's called the Tazama pipeline, the Tanzania-Zambia Mafuta pipeline, which transports crude oil between the two countries. Now, following a recent decision to only import refined oil products into Zambia, the pipeline has found itself obsolete in a sense, and so the two governments were sitting down to find out how they can revitalize this particular piece of infrastructure, and these discussions began late last year. And so this is a continuation of that discussion, and one of the proposed ideas is to first build a concurrent line, a pipeline along the existing pipeline to transport refined oil products. And also another discussion was on securing the existing pipeline, ensuring that it is secure, that security is beefed up, but also following Tanzania's recent development plans on its own natural gas that it's developing, how to build a natural gas pipeline that will also run concurrently. So that was the main agenda of this particular meeting.
Mm-hmm. Did they speak, though, about what those security plans would entail, considering the possibilities of insurgents, as well as what's happening in Cabo Delgado?
Well, naturally, for a pipeline of this size, it's about 1,710 kilometers. It runs from Dar es Salaam to Ndola in Zambia. In terms of security, it's fairly safe, but for a pipeline of that length, it's important to ensure that it is secure. It's been around for around 55 years, and so there are issues of dilapidation. It's a bit old. There are sections that are leaking, and so there are communities that could be affected, and so part of the plan is to ensure that those communities take part in ensuring the safety, the general safety of the pipeline, and also ensure that the infrastructure itself is not being stolen, and that will ensure the longevity of the pipeline. So those are some of the issues that have been around the pipeline security. If they're referring to pipeline security, that's generally what they're referring to.
Yeah. And speak to us about the perhaps issues, if at all, that have been raised around concerns of the environmental impact of having yet another pipeline.
Well, at this particular stage, nothing has come up yet. In fact, this particular meeting was discussing the possibility of having a feasibility plan, feasibility study, so to speak, to look into how they can put in another pipeline. There was discussion of setting up a 1,300 kilometer pipeline alongside the existing pipeline, and it would cost around $1.5 billion. But when exactly that would come to fruition, we don't know, and we are yet to see, in terms of an environmental impact assessment, how that would be. So far, the existing pipeline has been fairly safe. We do not know of many incidents of leakages, but the two governments are trying to be safe. So at the moment, we don't know in terms of any real threats in terms of a pipeline there, but we believe that it should be considered should a feasibility plan come to fruition.
Yeah. You spoke about the role that community members would be playing as far as it comes to the security part around securing the pipeline. But what about what's in it for those communities in terms of how they would benefit from such a construction and the jobs that would be created from that?
It definitely it's a very important question that you raise. We do know that as a policy of promoting local content, the government here, particularly in Tanzania, has a particular emphasis that if a piece of infrastructure is being built, those closest to the project are supposed to benefit in terms of local jobs. So we know that is pretty much sorted out, but we don't know any other direct benefits that they might be getting. Most of the money is expected to go into government coffers. As you know, Tanzania and Zambia own the company that runs the pipeline, with Zambia owning 66.7% of the pipeline and Tanzania owning 33.3% of the pipeline. And so any money that comes out of the running of the pipeline goes into government coffers, so to speak.